In this lesson, we'll expand the slow and easy Delta Blues sound from Tuesday Blues number 331. Here's where we're going. Delta Blues doesn't have to be complicated to sound great. It's one thing I love about it. And I'm going to try to give you an example of that here in this lesson. And I'll take you through 3 tips that will help you expand the previous lesson's sound and help you nail the part that I just played. But real quick, before we get started, I just want to let you know about a resource that can help you with this lesson. Tuesday Blues email subscribers get a detailed write-up along with each of these video lessons. The written lesson will help you study along with the video, plus make some progress on your own with some additional materials, things I pack in there that I think will be helpful to you. You can sign up at the link in the description. Now, let's dig in. First, here's a quick recap of Tuesday Blues 331. Of course, you can check out the full lesson, but I want you to keep that sound in mind. It's perfect for a new blues player, but we can expand it pretty easily by just adding some notes on the higher strings. You don't have to be an expert finger picker to do this. I'm going to pluck the lower notes with my thumb like I just did, and I'm just going to add one note on top, which I'm going to pick with my index finger, like this. It's just one note, but let it ring over what we're doing on the lower strings, and it really helps to round out the sound. But we can keep going with this and play more on the top strings. This time, we're going to play most of the measure on the top 2 strings over the A7 chord. But here's my favorite use of the high strings in this example, and it's dead simple. In this next example, I'm going to play the bar leading into the B7 chord. So we're going to change from E to B7. And as I do that, keep your ear out for how I connect the bars. Did you catch it? I played 2 notes that set up the change from E to B7, just 2 notes. I love this micro melody, if you can call it that, as a way to connect measures. It sounded like this change was on purpose, and it really isn't hard to do. It's just 2 notes. For some continuity, I did the same thing again out of the B7 chord and into the A7 chord. Here's a fun one, change up the rhythm. The rhythm that we've got going so far is full of 8th notes and triplets, but what if we play something slightly different? We could slip into straight time for a second or create something else pretty interesting. What we're gonna do here is keep that triplet vibe going, but I'm just gonna quicken things up a little bit. It's subtle, yes, but I think that subtle changes like this can help you create a part that isn't predictable. It's fun to play and to listen to. So give that a shot and definitely give tip number 3 a shot. I like to think of the bars leading up to a chord change as a setup bar. These bars are a great spot to play a lick that builds intensity. And example 5 shows us a longer lick that has a bit of everything we've talked about thrown in. It uses the high strings to provide some contrast to the riffing on the low strings, plus it's got a subtle rhythm shift thrown in. And the fact that this happens in a setup bar really helps to move the progression forward. All right, now that we've talked about a few of the major changes with these tips, let's go through the entire 12-bar arrangement here, and I'll talk you through how we put it together. So our first measure is over E. It's that we've seen earlier because we just pinched and put that high note on top there. Our next measure is similar, but check this out. All right, so we've got a little more happening here, and notice that I played that bend on the 5th fret of the 4th string with my ring finger. That puts me in position to play the open, right? We could play with any finger to do that, but now I need my index finger to play the G on the 1st string. So here's the measure. Right, so we bend and then play the open 1st string by itself, and then pinch with the G on the 1st string, and then open. And that should be by itself, not with the bass there. All right, next measure. We talked about this one because we did that little rhythmic change there at the end. We're kind of expecting that triplet from the E to D to E, but here we let that 1st note hang a little bit, and then we kind of double up at the end of the measure. Slight tweak, it sounds really cool. Then we've got our lick because we've got a setup bar here. All right, so what's happening there is the bass, plug it once and let it ring, slide up to the E on the 2nd, and then we're doing some brush ups with that cool rhythm. All right, and that last time I did the brush up on this little shape, and that's the E and the G, we start a triplet, and that triplet is triplet. So it's the little miniature chord there, followed by the open 1st string and then the 2nd string, and then we've got another one of those where we let a note hang, followed by 2 quick. The note we're letting hang is that D on the 2nd string, and the 2 quick, open 2nd, open 1st. Not too bad to do because they're right next to each other, right? All right, with that ringing, we go to the 5th string open, and we want to let that E note, the open 1st string, die out as much as possible before we come down on the chord on the end of 1. And this chord is an A7. You might play it like that, but I've got the bar at the 2nd fret across strings 4, 3, and 2, and then the G on top. And what we're going to play is 1 and 2 and 3, 4 and. The 4 and is just the G on top and the open 1st string, and then back with that same sort of letting the E hang over the bar line idea. So 1 and 2 and 3 and. Now we've seen that move before. So now we're back to E. Let's check that out. We're changing things up here. So we've got the open 6, open 1st, and then instead of this triplet, or this one, we're going to play and place that open 1st string in the middle there. Then we go up for a series of bends, very slight blues bends on the G note, 4th string. Pulling it slightly sharp, and then pedaling with that 1st string open. That's 3 times, which puts us, at the end of beat 1 of the next measure. So we've got 2 and 3 and 4 and. But this is where we're kind of connecting the 2 measures, right? Because that's that simple little melody that's going to let us connect the E part to the B7. So I'm getting into this with my B7, and it's 1, 2, and 3, right? And then 4 and that's setting me up for the A7. That's the D, B, A7 chord. Some more brush ups with something that we've seen before. But here comes something that we haven't seen before, this cool turnaround. So we're pedaling that high E on the offbeats here. We start with the low E, high E, and then we walk down chromatically, just one fret at a time. The 5th fret, 4th fret, 3rd fret, and 2nd fret, all on the 5th string, and then walk up with the E flat to E there. Remember, you can grab additional lesson resources by signing up for the Tuesday Blues email list. It's free. You get a free lesson in your inbox every Tuesday. You can sign up for it right over here. And I'll see you in the next lesson. Until then, practice smart and play on.